everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Strip by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. Happy 2022. I am officially back here at home in Canada where it is snowing outside, which is really uncommon for Vancouver because it has been sticking and snowing for the past few weeks while I was away. I was away in the United States. I had a bit of a vacation, a little bit of time off just to kind of rest and recharge. Things were getting pretty wild and pretty crazy at the end of 2021 in terms of my work schedule. So thank you so much for your patience in terms of sticking around and hanging out as we embark on season 4. So today's a bit different. I guess I should probably introduce myself for those who are listening in. This is their first episode. I'm Kimchi. Also, my real name is Steph Sia. I'm the host of the show. I bring you new episodes every single Sunday at midnight, and I provide thought-provoking episodes on the sex industry all over the world. So, and how sex work needs to be destigmatized, how sex work needs to be decriminalized, and I aim to educate the masses. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me, a little bit about the show. I am a sex worker as well. So I am a stripper, although clubs are kind of limited at the moment due to ongoing restrictions, due to the pandemic, which we've all heard ad nauseum. And I am also a digital content creator. So I do have an OnlyFans. I create content. I do audio stuff. I do sexting. I do custom videos, feet fetish content, fetish friendly, kink friendly, all that fun stuff on the interwebs. And I was also a former sugar baby back in 2014. I did that for a few years, had a couple long-term sugar daddies throughout the years and have established great relationships with them. And now I'm doing my own thing. I started this podcast, oh gosh, I guess 2.5 years ago now. And yeah, we're just beginning on season 4. And this week, I know we just launched season 4 last week. I did pre-record those episodes just before the year ended last year. I was supposed to bring you a new episode this week, and it is going to be new. There'll be new content, but it's just going to be me this week. Due to some scheduling conflicts and with the Omicron virus kind of raging and me just starting to do in-person interviews again, we had to put that on hold. And my guest that I had for this week unfortunately had to cancel last minute because of things that were out of her control, and she was sick, and I cannot risk getting sick at this moment, and I don't really want to get sick. So on the flip side, I'm going to be giving you a fun bonus episode, and this will be the last bonus episode I will be giving you because I'm excited to announce I have finally launched my Patreon. I have had so many people asking about when I'm going to start a Patreon. Where can I donate to you? I've had so many random donations popping into my PayPal saying thank you for your work. I couldn't find your Patreon. I don't know if you have a Patreon, or people just subscribing to my OnlyFans because they wanted to support. So I'm finally giving people and folks an outlet that they can do so. And thank you so much for those who have funded in the past. Thank you so much for even thinking of me. I do this work just out of the goodness of my heart, as lame, I don't want to use the word lame, as stupid and silly as it sounds. It's something I really do enjoy. It's something I'm passionate about, and it is something that has kept me going and kept me motivated all these years when I started this podcast back in 2019, just to keep going. And there's just so many topics and so many things I haven't even talked about or shed light on, or topics that I'm still learning about because I am still forever a student, and there's still things that I'm just oh my gosh, I had no idea that even existed. There's also new forms of sex work that are emerging, and I'm really just eager to learn it all. So I'm super honored and excited to launch that. Hopefully by the time that you are all listening to this episode, it will be, I guess, officiated and public. It's currently, at the time of recording, it's currently being in the review stage. But be sure to check it out on Patreon. It's Stripped by Sia, just like the name of the show. You should be able to find me there. I'm going to be offering different tiers. I'm going to be throwing all my bonus lectures on there, bonus episodes, behind the scenes content, kind of giving you a sneak peek on episodes that I'm working on, topics that I'm looking to explore deeper, and some cool fan shout outs and stuff too. If you want to get involved, please join the movement there. I would love to have you on there. It's just something small, and hopefully the money can enable me to get another mic, because I do want to start in-person interviews again, and I only have the one, and as we know, sharing one mic just doesn't do anything great for sound, and I've been trying to increase my sound quality and getting it better. So yeah, all of that would truly help. That is the first big announcement of the year. More other big announcements coming as the year goes on, but that's exciting kind of little thing that, I actually started a Patreon page when I first started the podcast, but I was like, you know what, no one's gonna listen to me, and no one's gonna be interested in sex work. Like, who's gonna want to listen to that? But then again, I guess over 100 episodes later, you're all still listening here, so thank you. Be sure to peep that. That'd be really, really great. Also, if you haven't already liked, rate, shared, and subscribed on the podcast, Spotify now, you can actually do ratings on there. Your ratings and reviews do help. People often ask, like, oh my gosh, like, how can I help you? Ratings and reviews can widely help the podcast. It enables for better searchability, for people to find the show, and just helps it overall. So just because there's like over 500,000 podcasts out there, I am just a really tiny person from Canada trying to make waves here. So your reviews and ratings do count for something. So keep that in mind. If you want to support the show that way, you can also do that as well. So thank you so much. So yes, bonus episodes are going to be going on Patreon moving forward. And yeah, this episode is all, I don't want to say it's all about me, but unfortunately I am the only one on the show today. So it's going to be a solo show today. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. But I tend to talk and ramble and share things in detail, which sometimes I don't really have the opportunity to do so when I'm having guests on the show, because I really don't want to detract from having them, their time taken away from them. So I kind of threw out on all my platforms. I have many different platforms nowadays where you can find me. But I have given the opportunity to kind of ask me anything. So yes, this is an AMA episode. Last time I did an AMA episode was back in season 1. And that's kind of when I was like in limbo, and kind of that was at the very beginning of the pandemic, where I was like, well, I guess I'll just end the season there, because I can't have in-person interviews anymore. And I was like really against like doing virtual interviews, because like I really like to connect with my guests and like meet them in person and make friends. But then I did an AMA because I was like, well, I don't know what to do from here, so let's just do the filler episode. So kind of in the same fashion, but not really. It's just different circumstances this time. But yes, this is all about myself today, which is very strange to talk about myself, but we're just going to go ahead, and I'm going to try to do my best here. I hope I gathered all the questions, because I asked it pretty much everywhere, from my Twitter to my Instagram to my OnlyFans to my Facebook to where else? There was another area that I used. But yeah, some great questions all around that came through. I'll be answering each and every one of them, and I won't be holding back. So I will be as transparent as possible, and I'm really excited and happy that people want to know a little bit about me. So cool. I guess we'll get started. And I received all the questions. I grouped them all into different areas. So the first bit of the show will kind of start off with the podcast, and then we'll kind of go into sex work, because that's what the show is about. So I'll try to keep all that stuff in the beginning. Sex work, content creation. People have been really curious about that. I'm talking about family, different camera angles. People had some questions in terms of like how to get into the industry, what my advice and thoughts on that would be, and some more really interesting general lifestyle questions in terms of like what's in your bucket list, horoscope, inspo. And some people even asked about my cooking, because I started my cooking live streams again on my Instagram, just because I lost one of my vanilla jobs, my stable income, one of my gigs at least. I lost that in this past week, which also kind of derailed scheduling and stuff too, which has given me more time, which is really, really great. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and my cooking, as well as my YouTube channel. If you didn't know that, I have a YouTube channel called Sia Slurps, which I create nudes in the form of noodles because I'm a big food nerd and I'm a big noodle queen. So we're going to do that, and then we'll end the show there because I think it's kind of fun and silly. So if you are here for the Sexburg stuff, that's going to be in the first half of the episode. So listen in. We're going to jump on it right now. Let's go. So first question, and I'm not going to share any usernames here. I just respect everyone's privacy. And if you did say that you wanted your name, I don't think anyone said they wanted their name shared on the show, so I'm not going to go there. But the first question is, how hard was it to start your podcast? And what's the best and hardest things about it? So, oh gosh, how hard was it to start your podcast? Honestly, it was really easy. It was really simple. It's one of the easiest things that I've done in my life in terms of like entrepreneurial projects. So I started the podcast in the summer of 2019 after I was dancing at the club, actually during when I was dancing at the club. So I was dancing at the Penthouse that week, and one of the customers told me or made a statement that, oh, stripper culture is really interesting. It's so fascinating. All of you are really cool human beings. You'll have different stories, different backgrounds, and you have so much to share. And, you know, some of you are influencers. You have like 40, 50K followers on Instagram. It's really interesting and respected in that kind of sense. And I thought that was really profound. I thought that was really interesting. And it just kind of sat with me. I finished my gig at the club that week. I came home, thought about it. And as an avid podcast listener, I have always wanted to start my own podcast. I love talking, and I love just like interview style podcasts. I think they're really investigative, journalistic, and also really a cool way to share a story, whether it's your own story, whether it's someone else's story, whether it's a fictional story. I just think it's a really cool way of storytelling. And it was something that I did and picked up. Like, when was this? Like 2018 or 2017 when I started listening to podcasts. I think it was 2018 because I was in a vanilla job. I was working in corporate. I used to work in luxury travel before. So I used to be an office manager and sales coordinator there. So as glamorous as it sounds, I used to like go to hotels and rate them, and then like find new hotels to add to our program because it was an invite only program. And it was really cool. It was like the luxury version of Expedia. And although I worked there for 4 years, I really enjoyed it. It was just like getting really old for me. I really wanted to do something else. And I was just getting really depressed, and I just started tuning everyone out and started listening to podcasts, like from the minute I left my house to the minute I came home from my job. So very heavy podcast listening, literally from morning to night. So going back to like why I wanted to start it, it's just because I thought that one statement that person said at the club was really like, there was so much truth to it, and there's just so much to uncover. And I was really sick and tired of hearing these negative stereotypes that were presented in the media. It's just really exhausting and just frankly just really frustrating, because I feel often sex workers are often misunderstood and always judged for everything that we do. Doesn't matter if it is our choice or not. It just is seen as a taboo thing. It's seen as an ugly thing to do. It's seen as something that's not accepted by society. So I wanted to do something about it, and I started the show. And going back to the question, how hard was it to start the podcast? Not hard, because I already knew what I wanted to do. I had my mission statement, which is to educate people in terms of like helping destigmatize the work and helping destigmatize the industry. So I already had that. I was very, very focused on what I wanted to do. I had a mic that was purchased for me by a fan. Thank you and shout out to Enrique. He's been such a great fan over all these years. I still do have an Amazon wish list. If you want to peep it and buy something off it, that's totally cool. But this particular fan purchased a mic for me because I had expressed actually starting a Twitch and a YouTube channel. Yeah, this is like 2.5 years ago. I've been wanting to do that for a while too, and we'll get into the YouTube part later. But it was originally for me to start my Twitch and my YouTube channel. And I was so scatterbrained. I was like, I don't know, like there's too much to do, and I don't know how to do this, and I don't have the time to do that because I was juggling a couple other jobs and stuff as well at that time. So I had this mic, and then I was like, oh, I already have a mic. I can use this mic to podcast. So that was another big check mark out of the way as well. I had some DJ friends that were able to do my music for me because it was really important for me to have like a really cool song, like a good intro and outro music, because music is really, really important. I think it really sets the tone. It sets the vibe. A lot of you have expressed like how much you love the song in the beginning and at the end. Shout out to my friend Ted. Ted D is amazing. He's a great DJ. He's based here in Vancouver, who I actually like, I guess we're friends now, but like I knew him from another friend of mine who's also a DJ in the city. And I was like, hey, can you help me make a song for my show and I will pay you, and please let me know. And she was rather new at the time. She's like, I am still new, so let me forward you on to my friend DJ Ted D, and I'm sure he can make something for you because he's a genius. He taught me. So I gave him the parameters, again, being specific with what I wanted to do in terms of my branding. I was really, this is like back when the Call Her Daddy podcast came out, and I have stopped listening to that show, but I've picked it up again, actually. When Sophia left, I was like, okay, I can listen to the show. I used to listen to about like the first 30 or 40 episodes of the show, and I thought it was like really funny, but then it just became like more cringe and more cringe and more cringe as the show went on, because I feel like some of the things and the advice that they were telling young girls was just really reckless and idiotic and ignorant, and I was like, I can't listen to this stuff, mainly because I can't relate to it. So anyways, I started listening back when Alex started doing the podcast by herself, and that's been okay, especially when she's just now exclusively on Spotify. But anyways, that's like a side tangent, but I really loved the vibe that the Call Her Daddy girls did for their show. It was just like really cool, kind of like hip hop beats and like sexy. And also, no, that is not me making the orgasmic sound like on the soundbite. That is not me. I don't know who that is, and I can't take credit for it, but that is not me. And that does not sound like that when I orgasm. Sorry to burst any bubbles, but that's not me at all. So it was easy for me to get that music made. Best under $100 I've ever spent on custom music, because you can get a lot of free music, royalty free music online as well. There's no shame or hurt in that, especially if you're on a budget, because you can literally start a podcast for free. All you need is a laptop, a mic, and some music. That's literally all it takes. But that's why there are 500,000 podcasts out there, because there's a lot of people that have started it and then realize, okay, I can't commit to this. And commitment was another thing too. So commitment, I knew I wanted to do an episode every single week, because that's all the time I can dedicate to. So that was something that was feasible for me. Again, I knew I could commit to this. Some people cannot, and that's okay. Just depends on whatever is going on in your life. My topic was really, really focused. Again, I already mentioned that. I knew that I wanted to go solo, and I didn't want to have a co-host, just because it was already really hard to kind of pin me down for my availability, because I have many projects and many gigs going on. And at that time, I had like 3 jobs, or maybe 4 at the time. So I knew it was already going to be really, really hard for me to coordinate. So I wanted to do it solo, and then bring on different guests every single week. That way I can reach more people and connect with more people, cover as many topics as I can, because it's a really, like, sex work is a really, really broad topic. So that was all aligned for me, and I had a vision, I had a goal of making it through a season, and I did. And I made lots of mistakes my first season. I think to answer what's the best and hardest thing about it. Hardest part, I think, is finding the right fit for guests. It's really tricky, and there are some episodes I don't necessarily regret, but I think I just did them because I was like, I need to get an episode out today, and they weren't particularly enthralling subjects, and those are often times when guests pitch to me. I still stand behind most of the guests that I have, like 99.8% of guests that I bring onto the show. If you didn't know, the podcast is curated, so it's by invitation only, and I think it's really important to do that. Because yeah, sure, I could bring like anyone on the show, and at first it was just like bring my friends on the show, or people that I really admire and looked up to and have actually personally met before, or like recommendations from close friends. But it's really important that like I think of a topic and then I source the guest, or I know a guest, I know what they do, I'm familiar with their work, and I know that they're going to be a good fit for the episode and be knowledgeable and provide a lot of information for the topics and the whatever it is, like the fetishes or kinks or whatever niche that they fill or service that they provide. So it's been really tricky because I've had to say no to a number of people that have pitched themselves to the show. And I do get a lot of people wanting to be on the show. And I've said this before in a couple episodes, because there's a lot of people pitching to be on the show. I love that you want to be on the show. I think it's really great that you want to invest your time in this. I think it's wonderful. But a lot of people are just like, how can I get on the show? I'm like, that's nice. Please pitch yourself. Please know that every single episode's an hour long, if not longer. And I love it when they go longer. But you need to be able to hold a great conversation. You need to be really knowledgeable about whatever it is that you offer, or whatever brings you to the table in terms of sex work. I think it's really important to respect my time, and I feel like that hasn't happened when these people try to pitch to me. So that part is really, really, really hard when I have to say no, and when they do pitch me and it's just not a fit, just because like I really rarely like to repeat topics unless it's been like at least a season or 2 seasons out. If I need to revisit a topic, I'll bring someone else on to kind of talk about it, but they can bring something else to the table. And that's just the really tricky part. The best part of starting this podcast is obviously connecting with all of my guests and also just everyone that listens into it. I love receiving comments in terms of like, thank you so much for helping educate me on this. I had no idea, and this world is so far for me. This has been incredibly helpful and has really shed a light to sex work and how how my perspective has changed. I have received so many messages from cis white males saying thank you. What can I do better? How can I help? And thank you. Your show has been extremely helpful. So that has been really, really awesome. Also, the really, really cool opportunities that have been presented to me just because I started the podcast. So I guess a highlight would be like having the opportunity to do research for the United Nations Women last year was like probably the biggest highlight I've ever had. Being able to be on a panel of speakers for the Sugar and Spice Festival in Singapore, having the opportunity to guest lecture at Florida State, as well as SFU, which is like my alma mater. Like, that's so freaking cool. I'm going to be speaking again in March for the spring semester, FYI. That hopefully that episode will be a bonus episode found on Patreon. But yeah, it's really cool. I feel super honored. And I've also had some learning lessons too, where, I have not been a great podcast host in terms of like, this was not cool the way you said something, or I don't agree, or people not agreeing with some things that I have said. And, it's opinion based. But I've only received like 2 of those before, or even if I've created triggers for some of my guests this was one time as well, but it was a learning lesson. Like, for example, when I had like my Q&A question at the end, I usually like kind of leave it as a surprise at the end just to capture their, I guess their true reaction. But some of them, I guess one of them was triggered. So that was a big learning lesson. So now I kind of like screen all the questions beforehand, making sure that's okay. So again, constantly a learner in all aspects of this. So thanks for the thought-provoking question. Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time podcasting. I really hope to continue doing this because it's something I really, really love. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that would answer that question. We're shifting podcast topics. We're shifting topics in terms of what do you wish you knew when you started in sex work? Oh my gosh, I can go on forever on this topic. It's more so a lot when I was a sugar baby, because when I was a sugar baby back in 2014, I never ever even considered that as a line of sex work. That to me was not even sex work. I was in complete denial of the work that I was doing. I didn't see it as work. I just thought I was going on dates with older men, getting everything paid for, going on trips and like getting money and just getting paid for just being young and beautiful and well-spoken, well-traveled. And yeah, it was difficult to digest those first few times, where you end up like getting, I'll admit, like getting freaking scams. No one ever talks about this, and I want to do an episode on getting scammed. Especially when I find this happens when you're new, when you just don't really know what you're doing. I was really alone when I first embarked into sugaring, because I didn't want to tell anyone what I was doing because there was a bit of shame that came with that. And yeah, getting scammed and not getting paid. Yeah, like I've definitely had sex with men. Not a lot, but I've definitely had situations where, I look back at it now and it's like, holy crap, I should have gotten paid for that. I should have asked for money up front. Should have, woulda, coulda. And it burned me. That, or even just being safer about the content that I create, and also the content I create now, and putting that out and ensuring that there are like really great safe parameters put in place. I was definitely not practicing that before when I first started in 2020. So I'm a little bit more cautious about that, a bit more aware, just because I've learned so much by being in the industry and having guests on to be like, do this and do that. And like, swap out your metadata and make sure you strip that, and just be really, really cautious about this stuff. Because that can be common sense for a lot of people, but in the same time, that can also just be a thing that you would never think of embarking into like digital content creation. So taking safety really seriously and not having boundaries on that was definitely a tricky part, and something I wish I had taken more seriously, and just wish I knew, and like not taken it so lightly. Like, for example, like a sugar daddy flew me out to Connecticut for the weekend because he was from like upstate New York, and I had just like met him that day on Seeking Arrangement. We Skyped for like 20 minutes or maybe less than that. And then next thing you know, I was on the way to YVR within like 3 hours. And I called my friend laughing. I was in a cab. He was like, ha ha ha, I'm going to Connecticut for the weekend. Bye. And just being like so naive and reckless and like stupid in that way. And just like braggy. It's just like, I mean, we were all like that at some point, I'm sure. But like, not taking it seriously, and like not thinking about the consequences, or like the stress that I might have triggered for like my best friends, and to put her in that situation is completely not fair. So definitely wish I knew about that. And I really wish I knew about the support and the camaraderie that this sex work community has and offers. Like, people want to help people in this industry. And I looked at it as a competitive thing before, because I was like, well, like I don't want anyone to steal like my guys or whatever. And yeah, I just wish I didn't look at it in that kind of context, because it's so like detrimental. And as you all know, the hierarchy is a huge problem within our industry, and I just feel like I like contributed to that when I was younger. So I wish I had known that sooner. What do you feel when you expand your video content Are you getting comfortable pushing the envelope? Is this beyond your comfort zone? So this question came from one of my OnlyFans fans, and it's really interesting because yes, he was mentioning, because I asked him for more context on that, and he was like, well, you have a lot of like stripping videos, teasy videos, pole dancing videos, and kind of cheeky content on there on my OnlyFans, and there are definitely some more erotic content in there too, but I usually save that for like private messages and stuff like that, where I can get paid. So because that's something I don't offer very often, and that's how I market myself. And yeah, I mean, expand my video content. Are you getting comfortable? It's not really about being comfortable. I've always been comfortable with my sexuality in terms of like what I portray out there. I've always been comfortable with sex. I'm an exhibitionist as well, so I love that stuff. It's just more so I'm protecting the identity and also the anonymity of my play partners or my actual partner. So on OnlyFans, there was definitely some play partners that I've had on there, which I had shot some specific video content for and custom videos. That stuff is not something I usually do because like when I have sex, and I've had so many requests, can we get some videos with you and your fiance? And you know what? Like, he has been so supportive. He's like, yeah, let's like film some content. I want to help you. Like, keep all the money. Like, this will be great. This will be fun. And, but I respect his privacy too. And honestly, when I'm in the mood to have sex, I'm not thinking about grabbing my camera and making content. I'm thinking about having sex because I feel like I want to get some pleasure and enjoy the time that we have together. So like the last thing I want is to grab my tripod and my ring light and, set up a whole production. Because like, yeah, like you could just set a camera down, you can, but like I'm not really thinking about that because my mind is kind of somewhere else and we're connected in a different way. And I'm not really thinking about, I'm going to use this to profit. But I will one of these days because I am getting like lots of demand for it. But it's also like trying to find the angles, which is really tricky to do sometimes when I don't want to show my fiance's face in the video or even my plate partner's face as well. So it can be tricky. There is a large amount of production that goes behind making content. There's also a shit ton of work that is involved when you're making online content that people don't always think about. It's not just like propping up your phone. Like, you got to think about like how you're setting up the space, like, how you're like setting the tone and the vibe and the mood. That's all part of it. So yeah, because like I've definitely made some videos and like we'll talk about this in one of the next questions too, but like sometimes put music on top of it as well, and then like people are like, oh, I really want to hear you and stuff too. So there's like lots of small little requests like that I have to keep in mind and to cater to each person, and also just remember their preferences too. So there can be like it's not about comfortability. It like I am very, very comfortable with who I am, and I've always been open about sex and all the stuff. So it's not about that, but it's definitely within my comfort zone, but like it's not something I always want to put out there. And also just because there's almost so many people stealing content out there and reposting it to like tube sites, that's something that's also of a concern to me, which like I'm okay having my face out there. I'm okay, I'm okay being a sex worker. And that's like, these are some choices that you have to think about when you decide that you want to get into this career in this industry. Am I okay with my content being found or stolen? Like, I'm not okay with my content being stolen, but I'm okay if someone finds out, because I'm usually pretty open about this line of work. So, which is like another topic in and of itself. So yeah, it's fun. I love that kind of stuff. And I love the comments that I get from my OnlyFans saying like, oh my God, that video was so hot. Oh my gosh, you should like do more of these videos. But I kind of treat those as like little treats when they happen. I don't want people to just get used to it either. So when they happen, they happen. They're a nice treat. Enjoy it while you can. And who knows when the next one's going to be. So always and forever a tease. You're welcome. What has been your favorite content that you have made from all of your customer video requests? Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh my gosh, I could literally I have like the biggest smile on my face in terms of like filming content. I've just gotten like the regular ones, like, oh, like I just want to see a sexy strip tease, or I really want to showcase your feet. Can you paint your nails a specific color? Like really what I would consider like quote unquote normal. And I don't want to say normal because like there's something for everyone out there. And, you know, some of these custom requests I don't get all the time, but and which I would consider as, you know, not as common, not saying it's not normal. Okay. So I just want to put that out there. So I remember getting this one for my calves, which I thought was really interesting. This person came from Instagram. This person did not follow me. And they had messaged me and they're like, oh, I really love your calves. I saw some pole dancing videos and they're like, your calves are on fire. And I have to admit my calves are like my best best asset. And, this person wanted a video of my calves and me kind of working out and doing squats and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really cool. And I was like, I get so many of those requests on Instagram or whatever, Twitter and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, if you're serious, send me money. The price is this. And then they did. And I was like, oh, okay, I gotta do this video now. So that was really fun. I really love making all of these custom videos that I do. So I make these kind of sexy music videos. I don't know how to describe them, but they're like just beautiful videos that I do for myself, and they're more just like promo teaser shots, but I've been doing that for my fans for customer requests, and they seem to really enjoy it. It's a whole build up. There's usually like a little bit of a storyline. It goes for the duration of an entire song. So I really, really like doing those kind of videos because like it really shows my personality. I really like to edit videos too, so I'm able to demonstrate my creativity that way, and having it go with the music in terms of like syncing it up with the beats of the song, or if there's like a big pause or something in the song, you can kind of sync it up with that. So I really love doing that. I got an interesting one. I can't remember the name for this exact fetish, but it was a farting fetish. And again, this person came to me via Instagram too. Again, random person. They really wanted me to do a farting video, and I did a farting video. It lasted like 10 seconds. I didn't fart for that long, if you're wondering. No, but I conducted a farting video and I got paid healthily for that, which I thought was really awesome. And again, I thought it was a fake one. I was like, send me the money, show me the goods, and it turned out to be real. So that was really, really fun. That the foot fetish ones are always fun because I can really just like play a role, and like some of the doming videos that I've done have been really, really fun to role play. I really have been enjoying that. And lately, I've been having these really awesome conversations with a new fan of mine who actually found me through the podcast. I'm not going to shout them out with their name, obviously, but we're just doing some audio chatting, and I really am enjoying that. And we're kind of going down the area of like buy encouragement or like forced buy situations, which is really, really fun because I think it's really playful, especially the way that he wants me to kind of go into that and embark and help him and encourage him to dive deeper into these fantasies. I think it's so fun. I love helping him navigate through that. So it's been really fun. I love doing all of those. I love custom content. I do have boundaries though. So in case you are curious to see what I can offer, please DM me. Do you have professional regret at the angles of the camera? And I think this went with the previous question too. So not really. I remember when this person was describing when I asked for more detail, it's not about the camera angles, but it is about the camera angles in terms of ensuring that the viewer can see a lot, but also for it to also look flattering for myself. So I don't really regret anything in terms of like camera angles and stuff, because like my body is my body and my body is constantly changing. I'm like gained another like 7 pounds over the holidays. So like it's not forgiving at all. So that's why lighting is really important. Camera angles are especially important as well. That's why it takes a little bit of work and a little bit of time. I mean, once you've done it a few times, you kind of already know this is going to look good. This is going to be a great shot. But sometimes it really is just trial and error in terms of like finding out what works well with your body on camera. And you don't really know that until you go back and forth and run back and run back and forth and run back. So it just takes a little bit of figuring out to do. So yes, it can be a little bit of work running around that way. This person has been curious on the best ways for guys to get into the industry on or off stage. And then I also asked this person to elaborate on what type of sex work that he was interested in getting into. And he mentioned a little bit of maybe stripping or, sex work as a broad stroke, even owning and operating a club. I will be doing an episode on the business antics in terms of owning and operating a club. That will be hopefully airing really soon. So stay tuned. I don't have specifics on that because I don't own a club, nor do I operate one. But please stay tuned. That episode is coming up hopefully next week or next week. So stay tuned, and that person will answer your questions on that front. I did kind of address this before in a previous episode, I think with dancer Miami Lux, and that was in season 3. I also mentioned a little bit about that, I think in season 1 when I interviewed Butlers in the Buff. Also, I think I might have mentioned it, the episode with Brent Ray Fraser, the I Can Draw With My Penis episode. So those are different areas and things that you can do. Those are different areas. Those are episodes that you can kind of listen to for more specific advice in terms of like how do males get jobs in sex work. So in terms of stripping, specifically in terms of stripping here, if you are in the Lower Mainland, if you're in British Columbia in Canada here, there is the agency that you can go through. So that agency is StripperNet. They also manage all of their male dancers, which often tour around. And I think they usually have ladies' night. I think that's still on Fridays at Brandy's. But there's also private parties and private shows like bachelorette parties that you can get involved with. I remember Richard Mean talking about that for the Butlers in the Buff episode. That's something that is very surface level, that you can kind of get into if you don't really feel like you want to get into like full-on stripping. That can be a ways and a means for you to get in. I remember some of the advice that these guests were telling me, and physique can play a big role in sex work, especially if you're doing stripping. So any kind of dance background, if you work out frequently, that can help you. It's not the be all and end all, but that can definitely play to your benefit. So keep that in mind if that's something in an area that you want to go through. I think camming might be the easiest way that you can kind of get into sex work, because you can do that in the comfort of your own home. If you have a laptop or a MacBook, all you need is a camera. And they usually come with like your laptop. So you can easily set that up. You can sign up on Chaturbate or MyFreeCams or, I think MyFreeCams is just women. My bad. Chaturbate for sure. StreamMate is a new one that I've been hearing about a lot in terms of live streaming services. So you can easily set that up. But again, if you were to do that, please try to be safe in doing that. So don't have anything identifiable of yourself in the video, or things in the background, or even like where your window is facing. Try to get that out of the shot, because then people can sometimes use that to identify and locate where you are. Turn off location. I know for most streaming services, in terms of like sexual, like erotic adult streaming services, you can also ban people from like your own town. So in this case, for example, Vancouver, you can block viewers from Vancouver out if you wanted to, just to kind of keep yourself safe. And if this is something you want to try to as much as you can, keep anonymous. But again, like what I said earlier, sex work, if that's an area, an avenue that you want to go down and a career that you would like to embark in, please make sure this is something that you're comfortable doing. Something that if someone were to find out that you were a sex worker, that you are a stripper or a cam artist or anything like that, whatever it is that you plan to do, make sure that you are okay being found out. And if someone were to find out about it, that you would be okay with that and having to explain that, because just go into the work just with the notion that, you know, someone's going to find my pictures or my ads or whatnot. So keep that in mind. If you are wanting to get into full service work, I'm not sure too much about male escort work, but there are agencies for that as well, just like with StripperNet. With stripping, there are agencies for that you can kind of help you get started before you go independent. So at least you can kind of get a grasp on things in that kind of way first before you kind of, oh my God, there goes my water bottle. I'm not going to edit that out because I don't know where it is right now. And yeah. So yes, hopefully that is a little bit helpful. Just know that the work is glamorized. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. It is a bit of work. It is work. Sex work is work. So just go in with that notion that, hey, I'm going to have to put some time and energy into this. And it's not just like post pictures and you like leave it alone, you're going to make money. Same thing with an OnlyFans. Like that's what a lot of people think it is. But yeah, the marketing of it, where am I going to have to market this out? Like what groups am I going to have to join? How many subreddits am I going to have to join? How many people I'm going to have to engage with on Twitter to get this out? Making nice content, paying for photo shoots, paying for costumes, paying for equipment, paying for your ring light, paying for a microphone if you plan to live stream. Yeah, there's like so many things, like the really mundane administrative tasks that you have to go on in the back end. It can be really, really boring, honestly. Like online work, digital content creation can be a lot of work. Sometimes I find that in-person work is a lot easier than maintaining your online avenues. So just keep that in mind. I know that was a scattered answer, but I hope that has proved to be a little bit helpful for you. Thank you so much for that question. We're going to be moving on more. So, yes, we're going to be moving on to some like lifestyle questions, which is always fun because no one ever asked me that about this stuff. So thank you for thinking about me. But the first question is, what is on your bucket list? Well, I feel like, I've had a pretty good life so far that I've created for myself. I've worked my ass off. I've had jobs and gigs all throughout my life. I've started working at 14. I started my own business when I was 18. I have traveled all over the world. I've experienced some beautiful places. I've been in love. Like, I got engaged in November. I've really accomplished a lot for someone at the ripe age of 32 has experienced. And I'm so grateful and very, very happy that things have worked out the way that they've worked out. Bucket list, yeah, I'd love to get married and stay married to my wonderful fiance. I think that is kind of chronologically next on the bucket list. I would love to ditch North America at some point and move somewhere else and work remotely and continue what I'm doing remotely. So I left the corporate life, just as the pandemic was about to start. So I stopped working at a conventional office job back in September 2019. Back in November 2019. And then, I basically got laid off from a corporate job. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then the pandemic happened. And then it just kind of solidified things and made me realize I really don't want to do this. I don't want to go back to a 9-to-5 job anymore. It's not where my heart is. And I don't want to do it anymore. And I've used the last year and a bit, so 2020 and 2021, to take a break because I didn't have any of my jobs. I lost all of my jobs, and work on building my marketing consultant, which is also what I do on the side, which I have a couple clients steady clients for and do work remotely. So that, and then I also do like obviously all of my sex work and stuff remotely, sometimes in person too. But like I love the gig economy, and I love doing work that I actually really enjoy doing. And I would love to, live somewhere remotely and work remotely and live life that way. And I would love my partner to come join me and do that, and try to experience that, because it's something I've never done before. I've never lived away from North America before, and it just seems like something I would love to do. But I'm not sure when that can ever happen, but we'll see. Even if for like a month, I don't know, it would still be like a really cool experience. And just like, yeah, I think that would be really cool. Definitely on the bucket list for sure. Bucket list, are we talking about like realistic bucket list or like idealistic, like dream state style? Because if it was like a dream state style, like I know it can never happen. I'd love to participate in a Broadway musical. Like that's never gonna happen, but I'm a big like musical theater nerd, so I would like love that to happen. I would love to have my own cooking show that I can like really kind of spearhead and like get paid doing that. Like that's kind of next on my bucket list goal, is to try to make that happen for me, as well as writing my own cookbook. So very food focused. And if all of you are listening and do not know this about me, I am a big food nerd. I used to have a cupcake and cake business when I was 18. I've worked in hospitality jobs like my entire life. I have a YouTube channel, as you might know. I just started my cooking live stream on my Instagram again, but I would love to do that and get paid for it, because it's just so much fun, and I'm really creative in that forefront, and I'm not bad at what I do. There's a lot of food porn that I post on Twitter as well as my Instagram, so go take a peep. But yeah, those are things that are definitely on my bucket list. My horoscope, this person's asking what's your horoscope and your major 3. So my sun sign is a Libra, and I'm definitely through and through a true Libra. Like I'm very balanced, although working can be pretty extreme, but pretty balanced. I like the nicer things in life for sure, and I'm extremely indecisive. Pretty much a Libra to a T. My rising sign? My moon sign is a Gemini. So emotionally, I could be all over the fucking place. And sometimes I just like deal with things alone, and I'm like, oh my God, why? But yeah, it can be very like quote unquote bipolar in that fashion when it comes to emotions, or I just don't show emotion at all. Like there's no middle ground there. It's either I'm feeling something or I'm not feeling anything at all. So that, and my rising sign is a Leo. So, which I think a lot of people have said that, or people sometimes guess that I'm a Leo, and I'm like, nope, I'm a Libra, but Leo rising. So if you don't know what the rising part means, it just means like what your outward personality is, what your character is, kind of like what you demonstrate on the outside. So that's me. I love those questions. I used to be a big like horoscope nerd when I was like younger. I'm not really super into it now, but like it is really, really interesting when I'm bored or like have downtime to like read up on it, because it's all like so true. So that's me in a nutshell. My biggest inspirations, they kind of come in phases and different sections. Like there are, I guess, podcasters that I like look up to, or people that I look up to, and a lot of them seem to be female, because I really believe in feminine energy and just having more of it in the world, because a lot of the world is dominated by cis white men. So yeah, like I feel like I can't think of anyone in particular right now, but I've been really reading up on the CEO of Glamnetic, Anne McFerrin. I think she's really cool. Like I feel like we could be friends. She's the CEO of Glamnetic. If you haven't seen their ads, it's like the magnetic lash thing that kind of started a couple years ago, and I like love her story. She immigrated here from Thailand when she was 7. She went to school for pre-med at UCLA, and she's an artist, and she used to do like art and stuff for like big YouTubers and stuff, and just very artistic in background. And then she found a niche in the market and decided to create this magnetic lash company. She's like Forbes 30 under 30, which was a bucket list of mine, but I'm no longer under 30 anymore, so I can't do that anymore. And I just think it's been really cool what she's doing. Her vision has been awesome. Her leadership has been awesome. I think that's really, really cool. The founder of Bumble is another person I think is really, really amazing in terms of like the work that she's done for women. I think she's really, really paved the way for, or at least trying to pave the way for equal pay for women in America, and just the way that she was treated, because she was also a co-founder of Tinder a long time ago, and then she decided, well, these people are going to buy me out. I'm going to start my own company. So I thought that was another really, really inspiring story. What's the founder of Spanx? She's also pretty amazing too. Yeah, like a lot of female founders. Like I listen to like a lot of entrepreneurial shows and like watch Shark Tank and stuff. Like I love any kind of entrepreneurial people that have had an entrepreneurial journey, especially if they're women. I think it's pretty fantastic. Also, the co-founders of Away. One of them is Filipino who immigrated from the Philippines and has worked her way all the way up to the top and is doing some amazing freaking things. Like, I think that's awesome. And I think I would love to see more Asian women leaders in mainstream media. I would love to have more of those leaders to look up to. But they really inspire me. And I love people that are kind of paving the way, especially for Asians in the world. Because our voices deserve to be heard, and we're kind of tired of sitting around and being silent. So the writer of Crazy Rich Asians, I forgot his name, but he's been doing some great things too and trying to really, really cement that. And that what I just said in terms of like paving the way for Asians to, not stay silent and bring us more into the forefront. I think that's really, really important. I think that's what we need. And I think just more people need to speak up. So yeah, those are some of my inspirations, all entrepreneurs, all cool things. And also just like, I don't know, some chefs here and there, like David Chang. I loved Anthony Bourdain, obviously. Who else do I like? Priya Krishna. What's her name? Founder of Milk Bar, Christine Tosi. Yeah, those are just a few to name. So if you know a few of those names, that's cool. If you don't, that's totally okay as well. Yeah, those are a few of them. Also, I guess in terms of podcasters, I love the girls from Girls Gotta Eat, Raina Greenberg, and Ash Hesseltine. I'm starting to like Alex again from Call Her Daddy now that she's gotten her whole gig. That whole thing, the whole drama that happened last year with Sophia leaving the show and how Alex was really spearheading that. Like, I thought that was really cool. If you're not familiar with the story, go listen to it. It's been covered in a lot of mainstream media in terms of like why she, but they were like trying to fight for higher wages, and higher salaries, and trying to negotiate for, what they deserve. And from what I understand, Sophia did not do like a lot of the work and just wanted and demanded more and more and more until like her and Alex couldn't reach a decision in terms of like consensus. So yeah, really fascinating stuff. Those are a few of my inspos. We're kind of going to go more into the food stuff, I think, after this. But someone asked for, are you going to be doing live stripper interviews, or are you just going to stick with cooking? And I've wanted to do like live stripper interviews, but my show isn't just limited to strippers. My show is limited to all facets of sex work. So not just talking about the performers. I'm also talking about people that are behind the scenes that are just as important in sex work. So even production, we're talking about clients and stuff too, people that help support the industry, organizations. If you think my podcast is just about strippers, I don't know which episodes you've only listened to, but it's a wider net. Let's just say that. But this is also coming from a comment from someone who's pissed me off a lot as well. And I'm still like, if you're listening to this, you know who you are. yeah, you say some really questionable things that I don't often agree with. And I've already told you off one time, so just keep it nice, okay? So, yeah, and yes, my IG is for cooking, for naked cooking sessions. That's for my OnlyFans. And there's a paywall for that because I refuse to have my nudes up for free. Some people do that for free. That's not the way that I operate my business. But if that's what you do, then you do you, boo. Send nudes or send nudes as an NOODS. To be honest, send me noodles. Like, I will gladly take any noodles. I'm a noodle fanatic. I don't really want to see your nudes unless I'm asking for it. Yeah, definitely noodles in the physical format that I can consume all the way. How long do you spend editing your video content for YouTube, and what app or program do you use for it, if any? Okay, so we're going into my YouTube stuff now. So if you are, again, not familiar with my YouTube content, it is not related to sex work at all. I have a G-rated channel called Sia Slurps, and it is a noodle channel where I rate instant noodles every single Monday. For MSG Mondays, and I have Ramen Hack Wednesdays where you post ramen hacks where you can kind of use your ramen noodles or noodle packets to make something cooler and sometimes more nutritious. And then Fridays I have Fresh Noodle Fridays where I make a noodle dish or a noodle dish or a dish that has noodles in it as an ingredient, and those recipes are original and are my own, which are really fun and creative because I love cooking. And Saturdays, I just started my Slurpin' Saturdays, which is where I dine in restaurants that serve different noodles, and I kind of showcase one noodle dish and show you where to go eat. So I started that when I was just abroad in the USA. So how long do I spend editing my video content? It really just depends on how long or how many clips are available, or how many clips I filmed. So my videos generally take, like my MSG Monday videos, which my review videos are pretty quick. It's about like an hour of editing time from start to finish, and that includes creating my thumbnail as well on Canva, and then uploading takes like a little bit of extra time, as well as doing the write-up, turning on my monetization features, as well as doing all like adding the cards and end content and stuff like that, and transcriptions. So it sounds like a lot. But because I've been doing this now for, like a year, almost 2 years now, which I just started monetizing. Yay, I can almost get my first paycheck from YouTube. I've almost made $100. I'm so proud because this was a bucket list for me. So going back to the bucket list question, starting a YouTube channel and making money off YouTube was a bucket list of mine, which I've checked off. So I'm really, really happy about that. And because I've been doing it now for almost 2 years, it's kind of like a routine for me now in terms of like, I know what to expect. I know what to edit. Although I am trying to constantly upgrade it and level up and continue learning from other YouTubers and creators out there. So generally speaking, it takes about an hour to an hour and a half. An hour and a half for like the longer videos. Oh yeah, this also includes like my audio voiceovers as well, which I also have to do too. So yeah, it's been really, really great. It's been a learning process. It's been a process. And I use Final Cut Pro X, which is available for Macs. For Mac users only, but and it's pretty like industry standard. Same with like Adobe Premiere Pro. A lot of people use that now, and I think that is actually becoming more standard than Final Cut. But the features are very similar. It just depends on what operating system you have. So yeah, but Final Cut Pro has been amazing. I'm completely self-taught. I basically, when I lost all of my jobs last year, I started my channel. I bought the program. It was $400 for just getting the whole program, which is great. You don't have to pay a stupid subscription fee, which is another reason why I didn't want to go with Adobe, because I was very frustrated with having to pay a subscription fee every single month. So that is that, and it's been a great investment, and I've learned everything that I need to know on YouTube. And yeah, I feel like it's just like paying for itself right now, which has been really nice. And it's pretty easy to use, very, very user friendly. And if you have any questions, it's literally, you can answer with a little help from Google or YouTube search. So yeah, but I do know, like, if you're looking to edit your own videos, you could also use Adobe Rush, which is like a app you can download on your phone. There's also iMovie if you are just starting out and want to learn about video editing. I also like tried that before, but it was so super basic and I couldn't really do much with it. So I just took the plunge and just bought Premiere Pro with the money that CERB gave me, that Justin Trudeau graciously gave us last year during the pandemic. Or sorry, last year now, I guess. Wow, God, it's been 2 years. Craziness. We got a fun question here. We're almost done, I promise. Yeah, oh my God, we're over an hour now. Sorry. What is your favorite instant noodle? This is such a great and hard question because I've made 200 videos already, and almost 100 videos of those are instant noodles. So I've had my fair share of instant noodles. I would say that I'm an expert in the field of instant noodles. And no, it's not just like reserved for students, although a lot of my demographic that will watch my channel are definitely from the 18 to 25 year like age range, which I think is great. Because noodles are cheap, but sometimes they're not cheap. There's very expensive ones too. But I guess my favorite ones would be Samyang Buldak Cream Carbo. So if you're familiar with the Fire Noodle Challenge, that is one of them, but it's like a less spicy version. I love that one. It's so good. I'm really, really currently digging this Szechuan style, Bajia broad wide noodle with chili. I can't exactly, that's not the real name, but that is, if you search those in keywords, it should pop up, and my noodle channel would pop up if you see that on YouTube. Those ones are really great. They rehydrate well. Tons of like, you get a good hit with the chili oil, a bit of sourness from the Chinese black vinegar in there as well. And yeah, it's just so addictive. Like I almost bought a pack today, but I was like, no, I bought too many noodles. When I went to the States recently, I bought like $100 worth of noodles, like 100. Like I have probably bigger than an aisle that you would find at like Superstore now, because I have so many. Like my pantry is full and I had to put them underneath my sink because there's like too many to eat. But those ones are really good. Pulmuoni Katsuo Soba is also a great one. That's a chilled noodle. It's like a cold, like Zaru Soba style noodle, and the chewiness there just like really just cannot be beat. It's so good. I also love the Otogi Yule ramen. It's the super spicy version. It's actually not that spicy, but it's your traditional standard Korean beef ramen that's spicy and like wonderful and full of MSG and just deliciousness. And I'm really digging the Nikiryu Dandan ramen, which I got imported from Japan, and they were like $6 each and there was 4, and it's definitely worth the wait. I cannot believe it's like instant. It's amazing. So good. Love it. Delicious. And there's a few different Taiwanese ones that I like a lot because their noodles are so chewy and like they look like real noodles that are hand pulled. They're so good. So those are great. And I know people have been asking for my top 5 instant noodles. I should just create a playlist for that really soon and create a video on that. So thanks for the reminder. And then the last question is from my sister. Do you hate pants? And the answer is yes, I hate wearing pants. This is why I hate the cold weather, because I'm very feminine. I like to wear dresses and skirts all the time. I just like love it. I mean, generally speaking, I just would rather be naked my like entire life. Like I love being naked. I'm usually naked at home all the time too. I don't like being like clothes being on me. I'd like to be free. So yeah, I thought that'd be like a fun question to end on. And my sister's just being a troll with that question, but I'm going to answer it anyways. So, I forgot a big question here. Oh my God, we're not going to end it there. A big one is, sorry, do you find it odd or awkward that you have some family members on your other social media platforms who actually support your career? I forgot to answer this question. I was just scrolling through. I was like, I feel like there's a big one here. This one came from my cousin, and my cousin has been a great pillar of support for me even before I was even in sex work, just in terms of like just being so open-minded. And I think it's so important to have that kind of support amongst family members. It's not necessary, definitely not necessary, but it is comforting to know that I have some support and no judgment from them. And it's really interesting because I have a lot of conservative family members. I do come and hail from a Filipino Chinese background, and Filipinos are also really heavily Catholic. They're very, very Christian. And a lot of my family on my dad's side, actually a lot of my family, even on my mom's side, extremely conservative. And I am very open about my sex work. I'm very proud of where I've come, especially with the podcast, with the guest lecturing stints, the time, like the opportunity that I'm able to write about sex work and get paid for it now. And I share that on my social media, knowing that I have family members out there, hoping that they would read it and, you know, kind of shed their old perspectives and their judgments, and that they can learn something. So I'm not afraid of that. I don't find it awkward. No, not at all. That I have some family members that are on my social media platforms that support me, but also knowing that I have lots of public posts that are accessible to family members. And actually everything that I do is public. I don't even have a private account anywhere except for my OnlyFans. But I mean, you could subscribe for $10 US and see everything that's out there. I'm not, again, trying to hide anything. It's there. It's something I'm proud about. It's something I've chosen to do. And it's lucrative. It's such a fulfilling and rewarding industry to be in. So I am very happy. And I think it's great that my cousin supports me. And if you're listening, thank you so much. Again, like, I feel like my cousin, especially in this case, like, they have paved the way in so many different ways. I think they're my eldest cousin, actually, but we've always had a great time. And I feel like we've bonded in different aspects in terms of stigma, because his cousin is part of the LGBTQIA community and has had their fair share of stigma, shame, unacceptance in our family before. I don't know, like, fully what they have gone through, but I can only imagine. But luckily, I think, at least on my dad's side, we're generally a bit more progressive and accepting. I'm really unsure how to navigate, like, with my mom's side. I'm still not super honest with my mom, even though all of it is out there. I've tried to have many conversations with her on sex work. She also is of the type that when they hear the word sex work, they think it is prostitution. And again, there's nothing wrong with that at all, or escorting. There's nothing wrong with full service work at all. Like, that was something like I inadvertently did when I was younger. Like, sugar babying basically is almost the same as escorting, but like with less boundaries and less money and more of your time being used. And that's how I see it now. So yeah, family stuff is really tricky, but I'm really glad to have had some people that are really supportive of my work, or people that have come around. Like, I feel like my sister is one of those people that have come around to that in terms of like now defending me, as opposed to staying silent when these kind of hard topics come up at the dinner table. So I think that, you know, people are slowly coming around, and I feel like the more I expose people to my shit, the better. And that, you know, it's a learning opportunity. Everyone has the opportunity to learn if their mind is open for it, if they're willing to learn, if they're wanting to learn as well. So I guess we'll end on that note. I can't believe I freaking missed such a big question, but I've just scrolled through my questions here, and that's all of them. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We are going to have some brand new spanking episodes next week. Again, all further bonus episodes going to be on my Patreon, so don't forget to search it up. It's Strip by Sia. It's also Strip by Sia on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, rate, share, review, and subscribe. I would gladly love your support. Anything is helpful, so thank you so much. And yeah, new episodes every single Sunday. Catch me on Instagram at Strip by Sia. Catch me on Twitter, it's also Strip by Sia, or my personal Instagram is Sia Staff, like the singer, Sia Staff. And that's pretty much it for me today. Enjoy the rest of your fabulous Sunday. Bye everyone. You're listening to Strip by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia, artwork by Maria Bellandarama, music by Ted D, and photography by Ian Dabburn.